Hello and welcome to CONMEBOL Qualifiers for the World Cup 16th match day. Leo Bachanian, and we have Uruguay and Colombia, I would say, in a bit of a crisis, and they have crucial games this match day, especially difficult, the Colombian one at the Monumental. Hello, Leo.
Hello, Edu. Yes, absolutely. I mean, they are not in a tough situation, or it's not that we are going to be seeing them dropping to a playoff spot or anything like that. Although if Venezuela wins and Colombia loses in Buenos Aires and Uruguay cannot do the job, then the three of them are going to be with 21 points. But yes, they're in a mini crisis, especially I would say Colombia out of the three. Edu, and to remember or to remind everyone about the state of the South American qualifiers and how difficult sometimes it is to predict. In one game in the Nations League, we had 9 goals on Thursday, in that France and Spain, and in 5 games in the South American qualifiers, we had 5 goals. So that, I think, it says a lot.
It's always a good idea going for the under 2.5 goals in these qualifiers. Well, we have Uruguay-Venezuela. It's a key game for qualifying for the next World Cup. So, Leo, I will ask you later about Ancelotti and all around South America. So, guys, remember, of course, to leave your comments, press the like, subscribe. Let's go on now with the show. And the first game, Leo, in Bolivia, always in the altitude. And as we always want to remind you, we have Bolivia, Chile. Chile, bottom of the table, only 10 points. You were correct. They lost 2-0 against Argentina, the classic 1-0. Argentina's victory. Your tip came in. And I guess it's going to be very difficult also for Chile to grab points from Bolivia. Remember that Bolivia's only win away in the last 20 years came against Chile, and in El Alto they are always favorite, and especially Leo against Chile. I guess it's right to say so that we expect Bolivia to take the 3 points.
Yes, absolutely. It can go, at least when we think how can the game unfold, it can go other way. Yes, I know it's football, but still, I mean, this Chile is out of the World Cup. As much as the math must be saying something different, this is going to be the last chance for them, but it's Bolivia and El Alto, and that says it all. The defeat with Argentina can be divided probably into half, because we saw both the lows and highs for Chile. The first 45 minutes, we had a passive and disorganized team completely overwhelmed by an Argentinian side who didn't even need to make much of an effort to show the superiority. The situation changed in the second half, in part because of the substitutions made by Ricardo Gareca, and because some players like Loyola changed positions, the ball started to reach a little bit more Cepeda, the Colo-Colo winger. This is nothing new for Chile under Gareca to show different faces in both halves. It happened with Ecuador and Brazil at home before too. At the end of the day, the way in which this defeat unfolded, that was another, manifestation of the inconsistency of this process, which I remember started very well. That was in March 2024, in those friendlies with France and Albania. The first match with Gareca for Chile was a 3-2 defeat with France away, and probably that one remains the best game under the Argentine for Chile. The Copa America was a disaster, and then in this road 2026 with Gareca, Chile played 9 games, lost 6 and won only 1, and Chile could finish bottom of the table, something that only happened once, and that was on the road to Korea and Japan 2002. You mentioned that defeat in Santiago against Bolivia. That was an humiliation for La Roja, because, as you said, Bolivia haven't won a game away from La Paz or El Alto in more than 31 years. That was the last match in which Gareca called Ben Brereton, the Sheffield United striker. After that, also Gareca went finally or bet on Arturo Vidal after Vidal criticized him so much. Actually, Vidal with Argentina was only bothered in fighting with Rodrigo de Paul. He was taken out after the first half, and I don't think so he's going to see a single minute in El Alto. Alexis, the another survivor of the golden era, he had a shot on goal after 3 minutes into the game, and after that he was a spectator for the rest of it. And as I said, for in El Alto, this could be conclusive for Chile, conclusive especially for 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏. And for Bolivia, anything short of 3 points is going to be a tragedy, Edu. 4 points behind the playoff spot with 9 to play, and the last home game is with Brazil. The last 2 matches in El Alto were 0-0 against Uruguay and Paraguay, but I can't see Chile doing that. That's why my take here is straight to Bolivia to win 1.63.
So poor, Leo, so poor Chile in these qualifiers. Next game is a key one for the qualification is Uruguay, Venezuela. Right now, only 3 points between these two teams because Uruguay, we can say they are in a crisis. They lost to Paraguay 2-0, winless in the last 4 since that win 3-2 against Colombia, and it's only 1 win in the last 9 CONMEBOL qualifiers, whereas Venezuela, Leo, keep dreaming to play the first ever World Cup for them after beating Bolivia in Maturin.
Absolutely. And look, La Celeste went from being the highest scoring team in the first 6 match days of qualifying to being the team that has scored the fewest goals in the last 9 games, something that replicated again in Asunción. The Copa America probably is the turning point, of course, for Uruguay. The record in the 6 matches played before the Copa America is 4 wins, 1 draw, and 1 defeat. 13 points out of a possible 18. But in the 9 games played after the Continental Tournament, the record is 1 win, 5 draws, and 3 defeats for them. A total of only 8 points out of 27. And if that weren't enough, only 4 goals scored. And which one of them was actually an own goal against Colombia. And for instance, Darwin Núñez, who is Uruguay goal scorer with 5, all of those goals came before the Copa America, because the games keep adding up and the same things keep happening to Uruguay. Uruguay is not creating any danger. The big deficit that this team has been carrying around for some time, Edu, is the fact that, yes, they do control and have possession of the ball in matches, but they are not creating chances to score. Bielsa has acknowledged that he's not finding the way for his players to flourish as they do in their clubs. Yes, however, within this negative run, you will find some positive results, like the draw away in Brazil, the point earned in El Alto, which I mentioned before, or beating Colombia in Montevideo. And of course, sometimes it's necessary as well to remember that the fallout in the consistency of Uruguay is as well a result of what happened in that game in the Copa America against Colombia in Charlotte, which resulted in Matías Oliveira, Josema Jiménez, Ronald Araujo, Rodrigo Bentancur, and Darwin Núñez all suspended and missing qualifying matches. Now on Tuesday, Bentancur will be back after suspension. He's going to play probably alongside Ugarte in the double pivot. Lucas Torreira, who missed the game in Asunción because of a virus, is now in contention. For the ex-Arsenal player, this is the first time, it's strange, that receive a call from Bielsa in the qualifiers. And for Venezuela, they never been so close to qualify to a World Cup after the 2-0 at home against Bolivia. Not only that, but if they manage an historic win in Montevideo and Colombia loses in Buenos Aires, the 3 of them will stand with 21 points, as I said at the beginning, Edu. Yes, away from home, things have not been good for the Vinotinto. We can count 4 consecutive defeats for them. The odds on Uruguay are high. Venezuela cannot relax, of course, and they will play knowing Bolivia's result, but they need to get at least a point in Montevideo to make sure that dream comes true. My take here, Edu, Venezuela first half double chance, 1.73.
Let's see if they are able to at least play the playoff for the seventh spot, Venezuela. Next game is Argentina, Colombia. I mentioned at the beginning also how Colombia is in crisis after the goalless draw against Peru. We expected them to win at home, and also remember that they dropped points against Paraguay at home before that. So it's only 2 points in the last 5 games, Leo, and now they have to visit Monumental. This is the 𝐬𝐭𝐴 final, and I'm sure also Argentina's fans remember the defeat in the qualifiers in Colombia. So despite having secured the first spot in the win against Chile, Leo, and with Leo Messi probably on the pitch, I'm sure Argentina are going to be too much for Colombia.
Yes, and also Edu, in the last 30 years, every time Colombia visits El Monumental, there is a sense that, okay, we want to have that revenge for that 5-0 that Colombia put on the face of Argentina on the road to the World Cup in the United States, actually, in 1994. If I was saying that for Uruguay there was before and after the Copa America, well, what to say for Colombia, no, Edu? Because before that tournament, Lorenzo's team played 25 matches with a record of 19 wins and no defeats, scoring 50 goals and conceding only 14 clean sheets. Well, everything changed after that final against Argentina in Miami. Because in the 10 games afterwards, after the Copa America, Colombia had just 2 wins, 3 draws, and 5 defeats. The draw with Peru last Friday was really bad. Yes, they did create chances or half chances, Edu, but the second half, the desperation and the nerves was so palpable that some of the players, they did not want the ball at their feet. There is also the rumors of a fight between Néstor Lorenzo and John Duran. Duran is out of the match with Argentina. The federation said that he's injured, but the player denied that. Lorenzo has been having problems at front for these double fixtures almost every day. First, it was John Córdoba who got injured. Then he called Rafael Santos Borré to replace him, and he was also unable to make it with the squad. 𝗀𝗏 Quintero, another of Lorenzo's attacking players, got a muscular problem and had to be dropped. With Peru, Lorenzo started with John Duran, but he was ineffective. In the second half, then came Luis Suarez, the Almería striker and the goal scorer of the second division in Spain. But apart from a header that hit the bar 10 minutes before the end, he did very little. We should see changes in Buenos Aires. Inestrosa and Campaz, those very fast wingers, probably will have a chance, or at least one of them. They both came in the second half and they did well against Peru. James Rodriguez was largely ineffective, but he won't be dropped. I personally would like to see Richard Rios in the starting 11, but it's true that he's not been recreating the level of the Copa America in the last year. The good news is that Luis Diaz is back for this match day after suspension. And for Argentina, there will be some changes as well, Edu, because Paredes, Enzo, Otamendi are all now available after suspension. Messi will start this time too. The first half with Chile was very, very good. An opportunity to see players who couldn't get minutes before. Leo Bachanian was outstanding as a left center back. He actually gave the key pass to 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏 in Julian's goal. Ezequiel Palacios did well as a number 5. Giuliano Simeone did what everyone expects from him. He ran all game non-stop. Thiago Almada again grabbed his chance as he has done it against Uruguay and Brazil before. The only player who couldn't play to the expectations was 𝐻𝐞𝐭𝐻𝐿. He asked for the ball all the time, but his teammates usually did not find him or decided not to pass him the ball. It was a shame because I really wanted to see him flourish, to be honest. 𝐻𝐞𝐭𝐻𝐿, he looked as well a little bit nervous with the minutes, like knowing that he needed to show something, but it was not possible for him. Lautaro is also in contention for Tuesday, but I doubt that he will start anyway. Argentina clear favorite for me here, Edu. The odds, as with Chile, are good with the 𝗀𝗏𝗍𝐿, and I will take them. Argentina to win 1.75.
And what can you tell me about Franco Mastuondo, that a player that we also saw on the pitch?
Yeah, he played the last 10 minutes. He's finally yesterday been announced that he's moving to Real Madrid, that Real Madrid is going to play the release clause. But to be honest, Edu, he is a very good player, absolutely, of course. He is the number 10 with River Plate at being only 17. That says a lot about his personality. But if you put an Arda Güler with 17 years old and you put Franco Mastantuono, I think that Arda Güler has shown much more than the Argentinian. But we will see. He's only turning 18 in August, Edu.
Well, let's go to Brazil, Leo, because I want to ask you, of course, about Ancelotti's debut. Next game is Brazil-Paraguay, a tough game. For Brazil, forget the odds. I think the odds are very low. For Brazil, only 1.45. Paraguay, remember, they are ahead of the Canariña, and they are in great form, beating Uruguay 2-0, 5 wins and 4 draws in the last 9 games, so no defeats since November 2023, with only 9 goals conceded, Leo. So I think it's a good opportunity if we think they are not going to get thrashed to go for some positive Asian handicap for Paraguay, although let's see how the players, the supporters, La Torcida reacts when in Ancelotti's debut in home soil. Did you like Brazil against Ecuador?
Look, Edu, I know that if the same performance with Ecuador in Guayaquil would have happened with 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏 Jr., I would have come here saying this or that and criticizing 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏 a lot. But the reality is that we cannot expect anyway Carleto Ancelotti to change things in 2 training sessions. I mean, the positive for sure is that the defensive cohesion in Brazil, in Guayaquil, was one of the best I've seen on the road to 2026. But in terms of creativity in attack, the Canaria left much to be desired. At various points in the match, the midfield and attacking line were absolutely disconnected, something that it was unusual view with 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. The return of Casemiro gave some stability to the defense. Alongside Casemiro were Bruno Guimaraes and Gerson, who, despite being a little bit more offensive players, they do not have the characteristics of a more cerebral midfielders. I'm not a big fan of him, but Andreas Pereira, who came on the second half, was the only one with those characteristics in the bench for Ancelotti. That is why for much of the game, the impression was that the goal could only come from individual brilliance. Vini was more incisive than 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, who impressed Ancelotti in training. Another gem from Palmeiras, only 17 years old, and he started the game. The only thing is that in Palmeiras, he usually plays more centrally, and in Guayaquil, he was used more on the right. One thing about Vinicius Jr., he did not score or assist in 31 of the 40 matches that he has played for the Verde Amarela. But in the Copa America, he scored twice and assisted once, and that was against Paraguay in the win 4-1. But of course, was a completely different Paraguay on that time. The great piece of news for Ancelotti, anyway, Edu, is that he will have Rafinha back leading the attack for Brazil. He is the player with the most goal participations in this World Cup cycle for Brazil. 6 goals and 3 assists for him. He will start instead of 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, and one more change should be at least that of what the Brazilian press is saying. Matheus Cunha, the Manchester United player now, coming instead of Richarlison. He has more mobility than Richarlison. More importantly, he has a nick for goals that Richarlison does not have. And then on the other side, we're going to have the amazing Paraguay of Gustavo Alfaro. He doesn't know what defeat means in 9 games so far. With Uruguay, they dominated the game from the start. They did not suffer a single clear chance of goal. Was another fantastic defensive performance. They could have scored more too, with Gustavo Gomez hitting the crossbar with a header. Paraguay went from dreaming with a playoff spot to a 3rd place, level on points now with Ecuador. They have guaranteed themselves a playoff position at the very least, but they will make it within the 6 direct spots for sure. If that happens against Brazil, in Brazil, well, that will be the icing on the cake, but otherwise they will only need to wait a little bit more to the next round of fixtures. But Paraguay will be present at the next World Cup. But Brazil, to be honest, Edu, yes, playing first game at home with Ancelotti, with the torcida all behind the team, the players for sure trying to show a different face at home, and because it's going to be the first game with Ancelotti in Brazil, playing in home soil, this makes yes, Brazil the favorite here. So my take, Edu, Brazil to win, combined with Brazil first team to score, these two together 1.96.
And the last game, Leo, is Peru-Ecuador. Peru really needs a miracle to qualify for the World Cup despite the draw they got in Colombia. They are 7 points behind Venezuela, so they must win here. They beat Bolivia in the last home game, but Ecuador is very, very strong. 2 draws in the last 2 games, Brazil and Chile, and no defeats in the last 8 qualifier games.
Look, Edu, for Peru, to be honest, I would say Peru is eliminated already. I'm not going to fall for the mathematically possible. Peru won't be going to the next World Cup. It's a very veteran squad. It's a squad loaded with 35 years old. 𝐿𝐭𝐵𝐺𝐬𝐳, Advíncula, Zambrano, Paolo Guerrero led the attack in Barranquilla with 41 years old. Flores, who's been forever in the team as well, it seems. He's 31 years old, and the new players with Peru are players who are making their first collapse at 29, 30. This said, against Colombia, yes, they didn't allow the Cafeteros almost a single clear scoring opportunity. There was no drama in Peru's resilience. They defended calmly, they did it well. But again, this team is not going to the World Cup, and they're going to be facing an Ecuador, which with the point in with Brazil, they secure second place in the table on at least for this match day 15, and they're heading to Lima, Edu, knowing that they're gonna certify their spot in the next World Cup very, very, very soon, and probably they're gonna do it in Lima or even before that, knowing some other results. But the feeling with the 0-0 in Ecuador, Edu, is that it was a little bit more of the same for them. An impregnable defense, but very little in attack. Once again, with 𝗵𝐵𝐾, 2 crucial aspects didn't work: creativity and finishing in attack. Ecuador's generation is often described as the golden generation, this one. The defense is definitely golden, I would say, yes. Because the feeling is that when 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏 isn't playing, as it happened with Brazil, then there is no chance of scoring for 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. If this will continue to be the context in attack for Ecuador, then Valencia will have to play until he's 40. The numbers say it all. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 only conceded 5 goals in 15 matches. Is the team with the fewest goals conceded in the qualifiers, but they have failed to score in 8 matches out of 15. Only Peru and Chile score fewer than Ecuador, and those are the 2 bottom teams of these qualifiers. But yes, going into Lima, are they favorites? Yes, they are. Would I expect goals in here? No, not at all, to be honest, as well, Edu. That's why my take here is both teams to score no 1.67.
Probably a low-scoring affair.
Yes.
Indeed, another one in these CONMEBOL qualifiers. Well, this is it. Leo, remember, guys, that you can post your tips in Oddspedia. We have great tipsters competitions going on where you can win some cash prizes, and also, of course, rivals where you can create your own custom competition. Leo, let's finish our video. Classic one. Safe bet.
Safe bet on this match day 16, Bolivia Chile goals over 1.5, odds of 1.33.
And the ACCA?
Bolivia to win, Argentina to win, Brazil to win, plus first team to score. These 3 together, a total of 5.52.
Always difficult, these CONMEBOL qualifiers, with a lot of action, really physical, and not many goals, to be honest. Leo, thank you very much. Thanks, guys, for watching. See you soon.